provide a more accurate assessment, some additional information is required. Firstly, the voltage and amperage of the service conductors. Secondly, the type of MLO panel board. Thirdly, the location of the current limiters, whether within the MLO panel board or elsewhere. And fourthly, the purpose of the service entrance conductors. Are they feeding the entire building or just a portion of it? Based on the information provided so far, there are several concerns that arise. The National Electrical Code Section 230.79 limits the length of service conductors between the service point and the service disconnecting means to 25 feet if overcurrent protection is not provided at the service point. In the scenario presented, the service conductors travel approximately 80 feet, with 15 feet underground and 65 feet inside the building, without any overcurrent protection at the service point. The National Electrical Code Section 230.95 requires that service conductors entering a building be protected against physical damage. The use of rigid metal conduits is acceptable, but the conduits must be protected against corrosion and physical damage. Encasing the conduits in concrete or installing them in a raceway would provide adequate protection. If the current limiters are connected within the MLO panel board, they may not provide adequate protection for the service conductors. Current limiters should be installed as close as possible to the service point to provide maximum protection for the conductors. Based on the current information available, the installation may not be code compliant due to several reasons. Firstly, excessive length of service conductors without overcurrent protection at the service point. Secondly, inadequate protection of service conductors entering the building. And thirdly, current limiters may not be providing adequate protection for the service conductors. To ensure code compliance and safety, it is recommended to contact a qualified electrician to evaluate the installation and provide recommended corrective measures. Service entrance conductors are the conductors from the service point to the service disconnecting means. The service point is defined as the point of connection between the serving utility and the premises wiring. The service disconnecting means is the device or devices used to disconnect all ungrounded service conductors from the premises wiring. Overcurrent protection is a device designed to protect conductors and equipment from overcurrents. Overcurrents can be caused by short circuits, ground faults, or overloads. The National Electrical Code, or NEC, is a set of standards for the safe installation of electrical wiring and equipment. It is published by the National Fire Protection Association, or NFPA. The NEC is updated every 3 years. The rigid metal conduit, or RMC, is a type of raceway used to protect electrical conductors. It is made of steel or aluminum and is typically installed in areas where the conductors are subject to physical damage. A main lug-only panel board, or MLO panel board, is a type of electrical panel board that does not have a main breaker. It is typically used in situations where the overcurrent protection is provided elsewhere, such as at the service point. Current limiters are devices that limit the amount of current that can flow through a circuit. They are typically used to protect conductors and equipment from overcurrents. Several factors determine the appropriate size and type of service entrance conductors, including the calculated load of the building or facility, the voltage and amperage of the service, and the applicable codes and standards. The calculated load is the total amount of power that the building or facility is expected to use. It is calculated by adding up the power requirements of all of the electrical equipment in the building or facility. The voltage and amperage of the service are the electrical characteristics of the power supply. The applicable codes and standards are the regulations that govern the installation of electrical wiring and equipment. These codes and standards vary depending on the location of the building or facility. Several types of overcurrent protection devices can be used to protect service entrance conductors, including circuit breakers, fuses, and current limiters. Circuit breakers are devices that automatically trip open when an overcurrent occurs. Fuses are devices that contain a fusible link that melts and opens the circuit when an overcurrent occurs. Current limiters are devices that limit the amount of current that can flow through a circuit. Several methods can be used to protect service entrance conductors from physical damage, including encasing the conductors in concrete, installing the conductors in a raceway, and using shielded conductors. Enclosing the conductors in concrete provides a high degree of physical protection. Installing the conductors in a raceway, such as rigid metal conduit, provides a good degree of physical protection. Using shielded conductors provides a moderate degree of physical protection. The location of the overcurrent protection device is critical to the safety of the installation. The overcurrent protection device should be located as close as possible to the service point. This will minimize the length of unprotected conductors and reduce the risk of fire or electrical shock. If the service entrance conductors are too long, they may be subject to excessive voltage drop. Voltage drop is the decrease in voltage that occurs as electricity flows through a conductor. Excessive voltage drop can cause equipment to malfunction or fail. To minimize voltage drop, the service entrance conductors should be sized appropriately for the calculated load and the length of the conductors. Several types of raceways can be used to protect service entrance conductors, including rigid metal conduit, intermediate metal conduit, electrical metallic tubing, and non-metallic conduit. Rigid metal conduit, or RMC, is the most durable type of raceway and is typically used in areas where the conductors are subject to physical damage. Intermediate metal conduit, or IMC, is a lighter weight version of RMC and is typically used in areas where the conductors are not subject to severe physical damage. Electrical metallic tubing, or IMT, is a thin-walled conduit that is typically used in dry locations. Non-metallic conduit is a type of conduit made of plastic and is typically used in underground applications. Several factors can affect the cost of installing service entrance conductors, including the size and type of conductors, the length of the conductors, the type of raceway, and the labor costs. The size and type of conductors will affect the material costs. The length of the conductors will affect the material and labor costs. The type of raceway will affect the material and labor costs. The labor costs will vary depending on the location and the experience of the electrician. In addition to the NEC, there may be other applicable codes and standards that govern the installation of service entrance conductors. These codes and standards may vary depending on the location of the building or facility. It is important to consult with a qualified electrician to ensure that the installation complies with all applicable codes and standards. Several potential problems can arise if service entrance conductors are not installed properly. These problems can include fire, electrical shock, equipment malfunction, and equipment failure. Fire can occur if the conductors are overloaded or if they are not properly protected from physical damage. Electrical shock can occur if the conductors are not properly grounded or if they are exposed to water. Equipment malfunction can occur if the voltage drop is excessive. Equipment failure can occur if the conductors are not sized properly for the calculated load. Proper grounding is essential for the safe operation of electrical systems. Grounding provides a path for fault current to flow back to the source, which helps to protect people and equipment from electrical shock. The grounding system should be installed in accordance with the NEC and other applicable codes and standards. Regular inspection and maintenance of service entrance conductors are essential for ensuring the safe and reliable operation of electrical systems. The conductors should be inspected for signs of damage such as cracks, cuts, and corrosion. The connections should be checked to ensure that they are tight and secure. The overcurrent protection devices should be tested to ensure that they are functioning properly. If any problems are found, they should be corrected immediately. Several resources are available to help people learn more about service entrance conductors and electrical safety, including the NEC, the NFPA, and qualified electricians. The NEC is a comprehensive set of standards for the safe installation of electrical wiring and equipment. The NFPA is a non-profit organization that develops and publishes codes and standards related to fire and electrical safety. A qualified electrician can provide expert advice and assistance with the installation, inspection, and maintenance of service entrance conductors. The information provided here is for general informational purposes only and should not be considered as professional advice. Always consult with a qualified electrician or other qualified professional for any questions you may have regarding electrical safety. Electrical work can be dangerous and should only be performed by qualified individuals. The NEC provides specific requirements for the working space around electrical equipment. Adequate working space is necessary to allow electricians to safely install, maintain, and operate the equipment. The NEC also specifies the required clearances around electrical equipment. Clearances are necessary to prevent accidental contact with energized parts. The NEC requires that electrical equipment be properly labeled. Labeling helps to identify the equipment and provides important information about its operation. The NEC requires that electrical equipment be properly maintained. Regular maintenance helps to ensure that the equipment is operating safely and reliably. The NEC requires that electrical equipment be inspected regularly. Inspections help to identify potential problems before they can cause accidents or equipment failure. The NEC provides specific requirements for the use of extension cords. Extension cords should only be used temporarily and should not be overloaded. The NEC requires that all electrical outlets be properly grounded. Grounding helps to protect people from electrical shock. The NEC requires that ground fault circuit interrupters, or GFCIs, be installed in certain locations such as bathrooms and kitchens. GFCIs help to protect people from electrical shock by detecting ground faults and interrupting the circuit. The NEC requires that arc fault circuit interrupters, or ASIs, be installed in certain locations such as bedrooms. ASIs help to protect people from fire by detecting arc faults and interrupting the circuit. Arc faults are dangerous electrical conditions that can cause fires. The NEC requires that smoke detectors be installed in all homes. Smoke detectors help to protect people from fire by detecting smoke and sounding an alarm. Carbon monoxide detectors are also important safety devices. Carbon monoxide is a colorless, odorless gas that can be deadly. Carbon monoxide detectors help to protect people from carbon monoxide poisoning by detecting carbon monoxide and sounding an alarm. Electrical safety is everyone's responsibility. By following the NEC and other applicable codes and standards, we can help to prevent electrical accidents and save lives. Remember to always turn off the power before working on electrical equipment. Never touch electrical equipment with wet hands. Never overload electrical outlets or circuits. Never use damaged electrical cords or equipment. If you are not qualified to perform electrical work, hire a qualified electrician. The NEC provides requirements for the size of service entrance conductors based on the calculated load. The calculated load is the total amount of power that the building or facility is expected to use. The NEC provides tables that can be used to determine the minimum size of service entrance conductors for a given calculated load. The NEC also provides requirements for the ampacity of service entrance conductors. Ampacity is the maximum amount of current that a conductor can carry safely. The NEC requires that service entrance conductors have an ampacity that is equal to or greater than the calculated load. The NEC provides requirements for the overcurrent protection of service entrance conductors. Overcurrent protection is a device that is designed to protect conductors and equipment from overcurrents. The NEC requires that service entrance conductors be protected by an overcurrent protection device that is sized appropriately for the ampacity of the conductors. The NEC provides requirements for the grounding of service entrance conductors. Grounding is the process of connecting electrical equipment to the earth. Grounding helps to protect people from electrical shock by providing a path for fault current to flow back to the source. The NEC requires that service entrance conductors be grounded in accordance with specific requirements. The NEC provides requirements for the installation of service entrance conductors. The NEC requires that service entrance conductors be installed in a safe and workmanlike manner. The NEC also provides requirements for the protection of service entrance conductors from physical damage. It is important to consult with a qualified electrician to ensure that service entrance conductors are installed in accordance with the NEC and other applicable codes and standards. Improper installation of service entrance conductors can create a safety hazard. The authority having jurisdiction, or OJ, is the organization that is responsible for enforcing the NEC and other applicable codes and standards. The AHA may be a local, state, or federal government agency. It is important to contact the AHA to determine the specific requirements for electrical installations in a particular area. The NEC is a complex document, and it can be difficult to understand all of the requirements. It is important to consult with a qualified electrician to ensure that electrical installations are in compliance with the NEC and other applicable codes and standards. The information provided in this narration is for general informational purposes only and should not be considered as professional advice. Always consult with a qualified electrician or other qualified professional for any questions you may have regarding electrical safety. Electrical work can be dangerous and should only be performed by qualified individuals. When evaluating an existing electrical installation, it's essential to consider not only the current code requirements but also the codes that were in effect at the time of the original installation. Older installations may not meet all the requirements of the current NEC, but they may have been compliant when they were initially installed. However, any modifications or upgrades to the existing installation must comply with the current NEC requirements. Furthermore, it's crucial to consider any grandfather clauses or exceptions that may apply to the specific installation. A grandfather clause allows an existing installation to continue to operate under the codes that were in effect at the time of the original installation, even if those codes have been updated or changed. However, it's important to note that grandfather clauses typically only apply if the installation is not significantly altered or expanded. When evaluating the length of service entrance conductors, it's important to consider the entire length of the conductors, including both the underground portion and the portion inside the building. The NEC limits the length of service entrance conductors without overcurrent protection at the service point to 25 feet. If the total length of the conductors exceeds 25 feet, overcurrent protection must be provided at the service point. The overcurrent protection device must be sized appropriately for the ampacity of the conductors. When evaluating the protection of service entrance conductors from physical damage, it's important to consider the environment in which the conductors are installed. If the conductors are subject to physical damage, they must be protected by a raceway or other approved means. The raceway must be sized appropriately for the conductors and must be installed in accordance with the NEC. When evaluating the current limiters in a service entrance installation, it's important to consider the location and the characteristics of the current limiters. The current limiters should be located as close as possible to the service point to provide maximum protection for the conductors. The current limiters must be sized appropriately for the ampacity of the conductors and must be capable of interrupting the maximum available fault current. The type of MLO panel board used in a service entrance installation can also affect the overall safety and code compliance of the installation. MLO panel boards are typically used in situations where overcurrent protection is provided elsewhere, such as at the service point. However, it's important to ensure that the MLO panel board is properly rated for the application and that it is installed in accordance with the NEC. The purpose of the service entrance conductors, whether they are feeding the entire building or just a portion of it, can also affect the code requirements. If the service entrance conductors are feeding the entire building, they must be sized and protected in accordance with the NEC requirements for service entrance conductors. If the service entrance conductors are feeding only a portion of the building, they may be considered feeder conductors, and different code requirements may apply. Feeder conductors are the conductors that extend from the service disconnecting means to a subpanel or other distribution point. Feeder conductors must be sized and protected in accordance with the NEC requirements for feeder conductors. The NEC provides tables that can be used to determine the minimum size and ampacity of feeder conductors. The NEC also provides requirements for the overcurrent protection of feeder conductors. When evaluating an electrical installation, it's important to consider all of the applicable codes and standards, including the NEC state and local codes, and any applicable industry standards. It's also important to consult with a qualified electrician to ensure that the installation is safe and code compliant.